And we are live. Good to see you today, my EOS Podcast friends. We have a cool show for you today. We're going to talk about Switcheo and Obolus, and we're going to talk about the whole EOS ecosystem. This should be a really interesting show for everyone. So Jack and Mao, welcome to the show, and go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey, thanks for having us, Brendan. It's a pleasure. So for me, I'm Jack. I'm from Switcheo. I'm one of the co-founders of Switcheo. I'm the chief commercial officer, and we're really excited to be launching our EOS DEX in a couple of weeks. It's been a really awesome journey for us, and we kind of realized that a lot of projects are actually launching on EOS, and a lot of projects are building new products on EOS almost at a really alarming pace. Like EOS just launched their mainnet just last year, and they have like about 50 projects now. So we kind of realized that a lot of projects are not just picking EOS, but really building a whole product on EOS and building that whole really contributing to the whole ecosystem. So that's kind of where we want to be when that happens, when to actually do build a DEX on EOS and to facilitate the trades, as we have done with Neo and Ethereum. Yeah.
Great. And Mao, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so first, thank you for having me here. Thanks for the invitation. I want to say that I'm a long-time fan of the show.
Oh, thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm Mao. I'm CEO and co-founder of Obolus. Obolus is a research development company in blockchain and especially on EOS. And yeah, we are partnering up with Switcheo, and we are powering their EOS Decentralized exchange. And that's it. I'm happy to talk about EOS for the whole hour of the show, and we can nerd out. We can talk about governance, smart contracts, everything. It's very exciting for us.
Killer. Well, it's fantastic to have both of you, and it's cool to hear of another big EOS Neo project that's coming to support EOS also. So welcome to the community. That's fantastic. So what do you guys think is most interesting going on in EOS right now?
I'm really excited with the governance that is changing a little bit, right? The constitution was just revoked for the user agreement. I thought the EOS New York guys, they did a huge, a really nice work pushing that forward and getting the BPs to vote. I think that's pretty exciting. And the other thing that I'm also excited is that the REX, but mostly because it's really like a use case or a demonstration of the governance. I don't know, I keep thinking about compliance, the governance. So I think it's really cool. I think it's just going to help us move forward as a community. So I'm pretty excited to see. I don't think necessarily REX as a smart contract as a tool is going to add too much, but just because Chintai is doing such a good job, that the REX has just minor improvements over for the ecosystem, but the fact that we can push these chains forward now with this governance model and voting and those chains, I'm pretty excited. And I mean, I also want to say that I'm excited with our DEX coming up, but we're gonna talk more about it. But yeah, definitely the governance pushing projects forward.
Yeah, the DEX coming up that's huge. That's great. And then REX, what I like about REX with Shintai and how it's a little bit different for me with Shintai is the fact that one, you are keeping your tokens in your wallet, which is important, and two, the ability to both stake your tokens so they're secure in your wallet and earn rewards on them at the same time. Because with Shintai, there's this little bit of a trade-off. There's this little bit of an opportunity cost if you're leasing your tokens out. Then all of a sudden you're not maybe getting airdrops. So for me, I was kind of paying attention to what airdrops were coming and deciding whether or not to, if I wanted to be either staked and to receive airdrops, or just have my tokens in my own wallet to receive airdrops, or to send them to Shintai where I might miss out on airdrops. So so that's one of my favorite things about REX.
Yeah, I think also the fact they run fees, and I mean that's not decided yet, right? But if the name fees and the RAM fees, if they go also to the REX, like in the fact they would also get cheaper, so might be also a different option. And then it's really a trade-off, right? Because Chintai offers more options. Anyway, yeah. It's really interesting, and it's up to us to decide what's the best one at the moment.
Yeah. What are the options that you like on Shintai that we might not see on REX?
We do the options that definitely don't have in Rex at the moment are there are possibility to run the NFTs. The guys from Chintai are pushing forward. The fact that you have it's more fine tunable. Not sure if that makes sense, but like you have more push buttons and levers to tweak and have different interest rates, and you do your leasing only if you hit that interest rates that you want. So you have a little bit of control and you can predict a little bit more. So yeah, give you a little bit more control on the finance part, and that's really interesting.
Yeah, whereas so the Rex, I guess, isn't going to be the a market and an order book the same way that Shintai is. It's going to be a common return for everyone. Is that right? Is that correct?
Oh, I didn't check about that. That's true. That was my impression. I didn't check. But now that you mentioned, it kind of rings a bell.
Yeah, it seems like that's possibly the case, but yeah, I need to look a little bit deeper into that as well. So, yeah, that's really exciting though. People have been waiting for the Rex forever. That's one of those use cases that if there's some sort of kind of reasonable payout there, that it'll be an onboarding strategy as well. I might be able to finally get my cousin to put some of his EOS if he knows he's going to be getting some percentage return over time. So, yeah. How about you, Jack? What's what's most interesting to you going on in EOS right now?
Actually, I'm really interested in a lot of projects that are actually launching on EOS, and a lot of existing projects that are on other blockchains that are moving onto EOS. Like one of our currently listed partners, Effect AI. I think you guys kind of know about them as well. They move from they're doing a token swap from NEP5, the new token standard, to EOS tokens for their whole staking thing. So I think that's pretty interesting. Like you kind of see people actually favoring EOS over some other different projects. I think different blockchains. I think that's something that's really exciting for us as a DEX. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and as you see projects switch over to EOS, hopefully new more liquidity and things like that, which of course is what you're looking for as a DEX. So when did you make the decision to come over to EOS? When is that when's that going to be completed? When are the trading pairs going to be up there? What's that look like? The timeline?
Right. So we actually made a decision after we met Mao at the event. I think sometime at the start of this year.
Yeah, it was in January when I was in Singapore.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were actually considering which blockchains to launch on, and for Switcheo, we started off with Neo. We launched the first DEX on Neo, and then we launched our Ethereum DEX, and then we were really the whole concept of Switcheo was to bridge between different blockchains, where we do cross swaps between all the different blockchains and just onboard all the different blockchains as many as possible, because the where you actually see all these projects moving on to in the next where we see the interest in these projects, all these different blockchains, is that previously all the different projects were on Ethereum. In 2017, everyone's bidding on Ethereum, and now you just see it people are actually favoring all of the more other popular blockchains, there's Tron, there's EOS, there's just it's more development going on in all the different blockchains, and that's kind of where we feel that the strategy for DEX should be. If you just launch a DEX on a single blockchain, that's kind of lame, and it's going to be really hard to move forward. So that's kind of why we after we met Mao at the event, we decided to launch on EOS in partnership with Obolus. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what other blockchains or what are you seeing from kind of that standpoint as what other blockchains that are really useful? You mentioned Tron, which is a lot like EOS, obviously. What other blockchains out there are you seeing get a lot of development?
We're looking at Tron. We're looking at Ontology. There's currently the new Binance chain. That's something that we can't really dismiss. You see a lot of projects that are currently pledging to migrate onto Binance chain once it's launched today, actually. So yeah, I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that Binance chain it caught me by surprise. I study EOS so much that things like Binance chain snuck up on me. But yeah, that's a really interesting project. I haven't dug into what their blockchain is. Do you know about their blockchain, if they're what type of consensus algorithm they're using or anything like that?
They're using Tendermint. I think I mean, as far as we know, I think they're using Tendermint with Cosmos, to build their own blockchain. And we're actually also looking into that and how we can bridge all the different blockchains using the same technology and to build a DEX on top of that, like quite similar to the Binance DEX in the future. So the idea is to open up a gateway on the different blockchains and such that we'll be able to interoperate between all these different blockchains in a much easier way than it is now with current atomic swaps. And
Mm-hmm. What do you see as what's your idea on kind of the future of how all these different blockchains interact, or do you see some of the blockchains kind of winning out and taking over, or do you see just a lot of small use cases for blockchains that are blockchains being specific to use cases?
I think we're gonna have a lot of blockchain that's specific to use cases. Like different blockchains have different perks and but there's pros and cons, especially when deciding on which blockchains to build on. Like so like for Ethereum, it might be a bit costly to constantly do transactions, and for Neo, some transactions might be free, but you do get spam attacks sometimes. So the idea is, like, I think a lot of people would decide on what their business use case is before deciding on what blockchain to build on, and that's kind of what we see. Like a lot of people are just building onto different blockchains based on their specifications and their needs. So what we want to do as Switcheo is that we don't want to pick like a winner in the blockchain thing, and we want to actually facilitate all the different blockchains, because that's kind of where we see the future of these projects moving on towards.
What's your user acquisition strategy? That's to me, I kind of always wonder that about exchanges. How do they attract users? What's the key to doing that, and what sets Switcheo apart, you think?
Right. So as a decentralized exchange, I think the key selling point of any decentralized exchange is the speed of how we can list tokens compared to our centralized exchanges, and how we really set ourselves apart from because we have all these different blockchains that we're trying to onboard, and all these different blockchains, they work in very different ways. Like for EOS, there's staking. For Ethereum, you pay gas, and for Neo, it's more or less free. But you can pay a bit of gas to speed up your to prioritize your transfers. So it might be different it's actually really different for the users to use all the different blockchains and to get to familiarize themselves with all these different blockchains. So what we kind of did was that we created a Switcheo account where you log in with your username and password, and the user still maintains control of their private keys. So we kind of extrapolate all the hard to use parts of the blockchain, and that's kind of where our focus is always, on the whole user experience of how users actually interact with all these different blockchains. I think that's a very important part, especially when it comes to adoption, that a lot of people are not tackling. That you have all these different very complex smart contracts, but if the users don't know how to use them, it kind of defeats the whole point of the complexity of the contract, right? So where we really see like the user acquisition is that we make blockchain, and then we make all these complex smart contracts a lot easier to use to the user. That's what it is now.
Yeah, on the smart contract and the EOS side, we just integrate with Switcheo on the idea that when a user creates an account using the Switcheo account, we just give the user EOS account, right? So the user doesn't even know that he has to stake run to buy an account, and he doesn't even know that he has to buy an account on EOS. So it's really, I mean, I'm kind of bragging about, but it's really cool interface that Switcheo have. So if you guys want to have a look, like all the beautiful interface and like the whole user flow, and then on Obolus side was up to us to meet their standards and their user flow, and then we hit our heads on the wall many times here in our offices in Tokyo to make sure that the experience on EOS, and we would be able to hide all the quirks, right, of EOS blockchain. So yeah, the user click buttons and things happen on the blog on the website.
Okay, yeah, that's a great theme that I've been seeing in 2019 is the abstracting the blockchain away from the user experience so that it's just people are getting the user experience they're used to. So, but how do you explain kind of how the interaction works? Let's say that I have my standard EOS. I have a EOS account, mrhappymoney. If I were to send EOS to Switcheo, then you're saying I wouldn't be using my mrhappymoney account on Switcheo. I would be using a account that Switcheo created for me in the background.
Um,
Or how's that
so
work?
you can actually use your EOS account to trade on our DEX. I mean, the idea is not to it's not so much for the users to create a Switcheo account every time they have to trade. I think that's not the point of our DEX. The idea is that we want users to actually connect their own wallets to our DEX, and we're trying to onboard more wallets. Currently, we'll be launching with Scatter, so and we'll be onboarding more wallets in the future on how that are more popular for our users as well. So the idea should be to connect your own wallet to the DEX or through whichever method that you prefer, through Ledger or whichever hardware wallets like we have done with Neo and Ethereum, and just execute trades from there.
Okay. Yeah, I use Scatter pretty seamlessly for most of the things I do on the EOS blockchain. What if someone comes to Switcheo, and how's it look if they don't have Scatter set up? What if they're kind of a new user or they don't haven't really used the EOS blockchain and they come to Switcheo? What's the user interface look like in that?
Right. So that's kind of where we see ourselves, or that are really set apart from our competitors. That our EOS account doesn't actually require users to stake EOS or to create EOS create EOS account by sending EOS into the account. That's kind of what we didn't really want to do. So for Switcheo account we do all of that for the users, so the users gets a seamless experience, especially when interfacing with our DEX.
And how's that work as far as so you guys basically, sounds like you might have to hold custody of the funds for them basically, or how's that? If someone, explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so also, I want to make sure that that's also clear, right? So the whole point on Switcheo part is to be a non-custodian exchange. So we just had to comply with that on the EOS side as well. So first, the whole order book is transparent on chain. And then second, the smart contract gonna hold the assets, but the user has the control over that the whole time, like the whole flow of the trade. So even if we disappear at some point or we get hacked or anything, there would never be losses of funds, right? The user can always withdraw. The only thing that Switcheo does is make the whole process much, much easier, because we developed the system in a way that Switcheo is always staking on behalf of the user. So we had to optimize the smart contract in such a ways that the run spent is much less. Also, the part of the smart contract that the user interacts is always stable and just a small part of the code. So we stake for the user just a little bit, and then it's this whole issue that last year a bunch of dapps had they couldn't stake on behalf of the user. We just found some hacks, not even hacks, like some clever ways to go around this issue, and then we are staking on behalf of the user, right? We, as a smart contract, pay, they run for the user, and they cancel or they withdraw, and all the control of the funds goes to the user throughout the whole time. Like, we can't do anything with the funds, which goes a little bit against, I think, the common DEXs in EOS, in which they hold custody of the funds. And I think for us was really important to give control for the user on the funds, like throughout the whole life cycle of the trade. Even if the order is like flying on the order book and it's not matched yet, the user still have the full control of the funds.
Nice. Yeah. So for people who don't, who aren't real clear on how DEX is, I've done a couple. I've had a couple DEXs on the show, and so there's some different ways that the funds can kind of transfer in the background, whether they are held by the DEX in a smart contract, or sometimes held by the DEX just for momentarily while the trade goes through. Can you explain the different approaches that some DEXs take on the background when the funds transfer and how you guys differ?
If you don't mind, I'm going to start with the long answer because I think there is an interesting distinction. So while we were doing research, and also we had to teach Switch about this difference, right? So because I think DEX has three different meanings at least, and everyone develop one and call themselves DEXs, right? So one of the most popular DEXs in EOS, they have a decentralized transmission, right? This decentralized communication layer. So they use the blockchain just to be a decentralized way to transmit messages. So instead of using the internet, I mean, of course they use the internet to connect, right? But you don't really know where are the servers of the exchange. So, or even if the server gets like breaks, explodes, it's really easy to move around. So that's why you can call that type of exchange decentralized, because it has a decentralized communication layer. You have also the decentralized governance. So when you have tokens that govern which tokens, which assets will be listed on the exchange, and you give like the control of the smart contract to the community, that would be like some sort of decentralized governance. What we are at the moment, we are decentralized wallets, right? So the funds are owned by the user at the whole time. And now I think it's going to be up to the user to see which kind of decentralization they prefer. If it's the communication layer, the governance, or the funds.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have a decentralized communication layer and governance as well? Or are you focused on the decentralized wallet, or how's that work?
So we can, the smart contract supports a decentralized communication layer, so you can communicate to the smart contract. What Switcheo does is just making decentralized in Switcheo the front end, like the interface, and this beautiful user interface, right? So it's so convenient that you would rather go there and also have Switcheo staking for the EOS instead of going to the blockchain, especially if you don't know anything about EOS, it's impossible. You'll never make a trade because it's a nightmare for a beginner. We don't have a decentralized governance, but I think it's on the roadmap. We don't want to discard that option. It would be really nice to have some tokens that govern like which assets we're gonna list, which project should have the light of the day. Maybe we'll get some like choice of the fees and all these like choices that we have to make as a centralized entity. It would be really nice to decentralize that in the future. But yeah, we had to make a choice and to move fast, so we're doing like one step at a time.
Yeah, and to start projects, this is like a lot of projects run into this. To start projects, there kind of needs to be some sort of centralization because decisions need to be made and the project needs to move forward. If it's basically a startup, it has to. It can't wait around for consensus on all their little decisions. So I think it's something that we see a lot in EOS is projects starting with centralized governance, and then possibly in the future we may decentralize, but that's not really the main focus when getting these things off the ground. So how does Obolus fit in like with Switcheo? How was that the catalyst to bring Switcheo over to EOS?
Yeah, so the whole story is like Jack was saying, we met in Singapore, and then we made each other excited for this partnership. They didn't have anything on EOS, and we were ready to have a simple DEX up and running in a couple of weeks at that moment. So we would go live by ourselves like on February on our own simple user experience, but user staking and everything. But then we had this coffee in Singapore, and then they were saying, look, buddy, we think the user experience is very important. We want to do this. Can we have a way in which we pay fees for the user? We hide out the blockchain. And I said, yeah, we can. And then I went back. I felt in love with the user experience from Switcheo. Like, oh, fuck yeah, we have to do this. And then since it's been like 2-3 months, we are collaborating on this integration. And then our role, it's like they own the user experience. Like, you're gonna use the website and you're gonna fall in love. Like, so sexy. It's so like push buttons and things happens. And on our side, we do all the EOS hard work. So we did like the smart contract development. we are doing the node also. At the time we started, we didn't have, like, for example, Hyperion and all these awesome projects from the community on the history and all that. So we had to come up with our own solutions. So we ran our nodes, we ran the smart contract, and then we give this information to Switcheo, right? So we have like a really clear and interesting way to communicate, and then we kind of try to hide some of the complexities of EOS, so Switcheo can just like do their song and dance.
Great. So what's next for Switcheo? What's the roadmap look like about a year down the road?
Right. So we've always been talking about interoperability and how we can interface with different blockchains. So that's kind of where we see ourselves building towards. Like, we see ourselves onboarding new blockchains, and of course, doing cross swaps with all these different blockchains. So, like, for example, that's kind of one of the key focuses on launching the EOS product as well. We wanted to ensure that the EOS product comes, the EOS DEX itself comes ready to do atomic swaps with our different different blockchains as well. And actually, that's something that we'll be launching in the coming week. Atomic swap actually. So that's kind of where we want to be, like, as a kind of decentralized hub where you can trade all these different tokens across different blockchains.
Can you explain how atomic swaps work and how kind of a use case for people when they'd be using Switcheo and using atomic swaps?
Right. So
no,
I think
go on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so starting with the use case. One use case is if you just have Ethereum, maybe you've never heard about EOS, but you want to be on that. You want to maybe buy just a token on EOS. You can do that, right? So in a non-custodian way, you can use your Ethereum or your NEO and be part of the EOS ecosystem, right? And you have control of the funds throughout the whole life cycle of the trade. So you lock up your funds on the smart contract, and the funds can be unlocked only if the secret is revealed on the other chain, and the revealing the secret unlock the funds on the other chain. So that's basically the atomic swap, right? Either both trades, swaps happen or nothing happens. That's why it's atomic, and swaps because you exchange between both. And on the technical way, it's really revealing a secret on one and revealing the hash of the secret on the other chain.
That's and that's coming at the same time that EOS launches on Switcheo. Is that right?
We're looking at launching staggering the launches. So we want to make sure that the EOS DEX is stable before we launch atomic swaps between the chains that we have onboarded and EOS.
Cool. And right now you have ETH, NEO, and USD pairs, I think, on Switcheo. Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
And do you use atomic swaps yet between those?
Currently, our atomic swaps is beta testing, and we'll be launching the next couple of days, actually.
Cool. All right. Very excited. Well, what else do you have to add about Switcheo and what's going on and what the EOS community can expect?
Right. So for Switcheo, we've always focused on user experience, like since the very beginning, and I think our key selling point throughout the whole launching on EOS is that we want more people to come into EOS. That's the main gist of all of it. Like, and we want people that are familiar with Ethereum and NEO to actually move over to EOS without having to deal with the complexity of how to use the EOS blockchain, like as we mentioned on staking and staking for RAM and all the different things that people that are familiar with other different blockchains might not be familiar with. That's kind of where we want to excel in. So that's where we want to push people to create a Switcheo account and to try out our EOS DEX and try the whole experience and see how it differs from the other EOS DEXs, where you have to stake your resources. And I think a lot of these different projects across different blockchains, because of the behaviors of different blockchains and how people have to interact with them, it makes it really hard to change from one product to another. And that's where we see ourselves excel in, where we can make it such that the user experience is similar across all the different blockchains.
Yeah, and this is actually a different adoption angle for EOS, because of the fact that you already have people that are trading on Neo and ETH through the platform. So when EOS pops up there, and then when atomic swaps pop up in the future, the idea that there'll be some natural adoption there. People will try out the EOS blockchain naturally because it pops up as an option on Switcheo. So that's a cool little adoption bonus there for EOS.
Yeah, we think also we're gonna be adding a lot of value for the tokens, right, that get listed. So that's our focus right now for the next weeks and months, is really finding kicking ass projects to list in Switcheo. So you're already engaging some of the biggest tokens on EOS and see can we do a partnership? Do you guys want to be listed? And the reception has been amazing. And then there are some projects to be announced already in the pipelines. So yeah, we're working really to bring the top tokens to EOS. And I think if you have a kicking ass project at home and you're listening to this, I think you should consider having not only the EOS community as a potential community for your token, but thinking that you can have Ethereum and Neo as part of your community. I think that's pretty sexy. And yeah, come talk to Jack or to me if you wanna if you're interested, right, in listing or making your own token on EOS.
Yeah, I see. How does that work on DEXs in general? And then maybe you can explain how it works as far as getting different projects listed. Let's say there's things like Effect AI that you mentioned that will be coming to the EOS blockchain. There's projects that have been out for a long time, let's say like Everpedia, or that will be hopefully listed on something like Switcheo. And then there's newer projects, let's say like Pixios, that aren't really that you haven't seen listed on DEXs. What is the procedure for new tokens and for all tokens to get listed on DEXs, and what is it for Switcheo specifically?
Right. So I'll run through for Switcheo specifically, and Mal can talk more about the listing procedure for EOS. So for Switcheo, usually the project reaches out to us, or we reach out to the project, depending on which state the project is in. So there's some of the projects that they reach out to, they're still in fundraising stage, and they aren't really they haven't actually looked into the exchange listing part yet. So once that happens, we screen through the project and make sure if they reach out to us, we screen through that project and make sure they're not doing something sketchy or something. So that process is kind of thorough. So we take a couple of days to couple of weeks to do so, and when everything's all right, we get back to the project on the listing procedures, which requires currently we don't charge listing fees. So what we require from the project is funds for liquidity provision for market making, and we do so in-house with the help of a partner. So we manage to trading the market making, which is to increase the size of the order book in-house, and that's kind of how we see ourselves onboarding more projects.
Yeah, and then the missing piece for years, we have to check the smart contract. If the token didn't do anything, maybe they forgot some step on the token, the transfer, on the withdrawal transactions, and we just have to make sure their behavior won't affect the market, right? Especially because we are on chain order book with everything happening in a decentralized way. We have to be careful on that part. But it's also it's a quick check, but we need to have a look and see if the behavior is going to be fine.
Great. What are some of your what's been some of your feedback as far as the EOS apps out there and their responsiveness to listing on the DEX?
Yeah, so I had multiple types of response. So there's some people coming up to us and say, hey, I'm interested, can we talk? And of course we engage with those folks and we start the process. We have people that we are chasing. And then and then it's really, I mean, it's really nice thing that they don't come up back to you too fast, and then you see another announcement on the next day that they're doing something awesome on EOS, and like, buddy, you're busy. That's like heartwarming. And eventually they come up to you, and you always find somebody interesting talking, and it's just like that particular decision maker can't at that day, right? And then they direct my messages, and then we're moving forward. But I mean, that's how it should be, right? A thriving ecosystem people should be busy making stuff, but the biggest tokens, they are talking to us like one another and say like, yeah, let's do this, and we have these ways, and let's talk. Yeah, that's mostly this. And there's some tokens that we start engaging, and then we, like Jack said, we do the true due diligence, and then we start understanding why they don't reply. It's because maybe they don't exist anymore, and then like we discard those tokens.
Okay. So yeah, I wonder about so a lot of the tokens that you see on DEXs that have, or a lot of tokens being traded don't have any value. So it sounds like you guys are kind of doing a vetting process as far as what tokens you're going to list or not.
Yeah.
What was the success like for Switcheo on the Neo blockchain, and kind of what was how did it do over there so far?
Right. So for Neo, we were really fortunate to launch the first Neo DEX, and when we did so, a lot of the projects, because the idea of launching the first Neo DEX actually came from us, me and my co-founders actually participating in a lot of the Neo ICOs, and we just realized that it just took centralized exchanges just a crazy amount of time to list, and we really wanted to build our own DEX to so that we can trade our tokens that we bought from these ICOs, and that's kind of what we want to do for the other different blockchains that we launch as well. So when we first launched on Neo, we had the first DEX on Neo. We got to list a lot of the tokens first, and some of them even we have exclusive listing on them. So we do have pretty good volume on our Neo pairs. But as for Ethereum, we weren't the first mover. There was when we launched on Ethereum, there was already IDEX and EtherDelta and so many different other DEXs, like Kyber had their product launched. So that's where we see the differentiation. Like for Neo, we have a majority of the market share. For Ethereum, not so much. So we hope to actually have a pretty good market share of the EOS projects once we launch as well.
All right. Hopefully the community reception is good for you guys. I'm sure it will be, but Effect AI had a great response from the EOS community when they came over from the Neo blockchain, and had a lot of people reach out and offer support. So how's that been so far? I know you guys are just getting started reaching out to the community, but what's the reception been like?
The reception has been good, especially from our existing community members that have been following us since Neo and Ethereum. A lot of people are really excited about. A lot of people in our community are really excited about the new blockchain launch, especially on EOS, and they're really excited about the partnership we have with Obolus, and how we're working with Obolus on making the user experience of the EOS blockchain as simple as possible. We have also received a lot of support from the EOS community as well, like from Effect AI and from a few other different projects. They all reached out to us when it comes to listing, or just general support, and especially to reach out to you. Like we do have a lot of support from our general community, the EOS community, and basically everyone in the EOS community has been really helpful, especially when it comes to linking us up with the right people to talk to.
Yeah, some guys that have been really receptive are some of the BPs. So just a quick shout out for EOS 42 and EOS Real. They've been really supportive. I've been talking with those folks. Also here in Japan, we always like chatting with Jeddah. Also just they're like always top of 5 in the BP rank. So yeah, I think that the BPs that we are talking to, they're pretty excited, and some of them, they had a look in the smart contract and they were like amazed of the quality of the code. So definitely the BPs also are like totally supporting a new DEX coming to use.
That's great to hear. So what do you guys have to add as we start to kind of wind down the show here? What have we kind of glossed over anything that you'd like to go back and talk more about, or what are some final thoughts on Switcheo and Obolus?
Right. So I think, as Mal mentioned, I think we're currently looking for more projects to list. When we launch our EOS DEX initially. So I think that's something that can be a key takeaway for any of our viewers out there. So I think if you guys have any projects that you're really interested in, just really passionate about, or know of any project that's about to complete their ICO and wants to do this thing, do reach out to us, and we can probably work something out. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on the show. I'm excited to have a new DEX coming. I'm excited for the adoption for people from the Neo blockchain and the ETH blockchain to get a little bit more exposure to EOS. I'm excited to see what change you add in the future. I'm interested in so many blockchains out there. It's hard for me to have time to study everything that's going on because there's so much going on in EOS. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a little bit of a temperature to me taking the temperature to see what the next blockchain your team adds is. Do you have the next blockchain on the board yet by any chance? Do you know what the next blockchain you'll add, or do you?
I can't tell you, but yeah,
Okay.
We're working on another blockchain as well.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll keep my eyes out for that. That'll help me that'll prompt some of my studying to see what the next one that you end up offering there is. But yeah, it's an exciting time in EOS. You guys got any predictions for, this is a little bit off topic here, but you guys got any predictions for June as far as the big EOS announcement?
I want to talk about it. Talk about it. That's very cool. I'm in the wallet team. I totally think they're going to announce a wallet. That's one of the things that definitely are working.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're going to come up with their own DEX smart contract. I know that's in the pipe, or was in the pipelines for the year. I don't know if they're going to do it, but I think if they do, it's going to be great. I think it's going to be the same with Obolus and Block One DEX. I think it's going to be the same relationship as Chintai and Rex. Like, there'll be different value propositions, and then people will be just choosing more and more. Is always nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if they're going to announce anything about that. And on the background, talking with you, Brandon, you mentioned something was very interesting that makes sense also, right? They're talking with the government. They were hiring those guys in Washington, D.C. a couple of months ago. So are they doing anything with that? Are they doing elections into 2020 on the EOS blockchain? Yeah, that's also would be interesting to see.
Yeah, that government angle is interesting for sure. I can't quite wrap my head around what that might be. Or if they're just hosting it in Washington, D.C. to as a statement about blockchain governance. Who knows? But so you mentioned the wallet. So do you think they're going to release a fully functioning, like a actual wallet DApp, or do you think they're going to release the full code, or what do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, so I think they're just going to release an app like a portal for like EOS ecosystem, right? So hopefully it's going to be also beautiful, easy to use, and then dapps will be able to integrate, and they're going to have their own homepage, their own like user experience and onboarding clients to the EOS ecosystem and any other chain. So I think, that's what they had in mind before, right? They thought they would be able to just have like a proof of concept wallet, but then people from the whole community, like Link's wallet and all these great wallets, they came, and then they realized, we're not adding anything new if we just bring another wallet. So I think they're gonna have this full-fledged wallet with already integrated, and maybe being the official quote-unquote Block One wallet may bring even more adoption.
Yeah, I like to think about Dan's identity solution because you pick up a lot of hints from him in Telegram, but it sounds like his identity solution is just a lot of checks, on your identity as far as thumbprint, facial recognition, the integration of maybe multiple social media channels to back up your identity, and even government ID. So I think that it sounds like his solution is like a an aggregation of your online identity plus biometrics and plus government ID to kind of verify one user, one account. So I'm wondering if there is a solution there that's going to be a part of the wallet as well, some sort of identity verification. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, we've always been really excited about the EOS development, and yeah, we hope to integrate with them if there's a chance to do so. Cool.
Well, I appreciate having you guys on the show again. I'm really excited for this project, and when you launch Atomic Swaps, feel free to come back on the EOS podcast. We can talk about Atomic Swaps and how those are working with EOS. And where's the best place for people to find you on the socials or just your website, or what's the best place to find you?
For listings, we have a listing form on our website, and if you just want to chat in general, we're usually quite active in our chat, the Switcheo Telegram chat.
Great. Well, we'll put the link for listing and the Telegram chat in the show notes, so people can find them there.
Yeah, if you want to know more about Obolus, you can go to obolus.com. We're here, a Japanese company. If you guys if you ever go to Japan and want to have some sake, and we are also pretty active on Twitter. Just click and follow us.
All right. Well, I'm adding Singapore and Japan for some sake onto my travel list here. So
please come.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to have you guys. And this is the EOS Podcast. It's also a podcast, not just a YouTube show. So if you're driving to work or anything like that, you're watching on YouTube now, get the podcast so that you can listen in the car or wherever else you're going. And that is the show for today. And thank you, Switcheo, and thank you, Obolus, and thank you, Jack, and thank you, Mal. That was a great talk. So cheers.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure.
The money is not the prime asset in life. Time is, and your time is